lots of other countries, Egypt is one of them, there is national television. It's voice of the ruling cabinet. And I see that there's a tendency to create something like that now. Certain outlets where the White House is bestowing on them their trust and alienating the rest.
What happened to you? Your life was in danger at one point, and you had trouble.
4 points, not 1 point.
Say that again?
At 4 points.
At 4 points. Okay. Give us an idea what you were trying to do and why it threatened your life.
I interviewed the president at the time, the Muslim Brotherhood President Morsi. He came trying to force certain questions, asking me to ask it, and I refused doing that. And I asked my questions, and it was live. He didn't like that. And after that, I faced 4 assassination attempts. Ruth Ginsburg had an interview a couple of days ago, and she said something really very insightful. She said the symbol of the United States is not really the eagle, it's the pendulum. Because the United States, throughout the history, has been able to, whenever it swings way too far on one side, it comes back to the middle. And this is because of the media. The freedom of press is always keeping everything in tune.
The Committee to Protect Journalists said just yesterday that the Trump administration is sending a signal to other countries that it is okay to verbally abuse journalists and undermine their credibility. Do you think is that true, or is that exaggeration?
Yeah, this is definitely going to affect the way the rest of the world verbally or even much worse abuse their journalism.
Does the media themselves, and I'm specifically talking about some of the big corporate media companies like CNN, like Fox, like NBC, you may mention a couple of those earlier, have they hurt themselves? Have they been, at times, their own worst enemy in terms of eroding their credibility? In other words, for Trump to do what Trump is doing, is it just Trump, or did he inherit the conditions where the majority of Americans, if you believe polling data, and that's obviously another question, but if you believe major polling traditional outlets, increasingly Americans have an unfavorable view of the big media here in the United States. It's well under 50% of just trust in the media. So what created that climate? That happened before Donald Trump even arrived on the scene. So what do you think the cause of, if again, I always have to qualify it, if you believe that there's this sentiment that more and more every day Americans trust their big media less, what created that environment?
The same people believed and were following and sharing fake news on social media. During the election time, there was a flood of fake news. Another thing, I'm in the business of not being liked. I'm in the business of telling the truth. So I think this sentiment is mainly because
the information revolution, technology revolution.
Exactly, and it really affected the results.
So why is the expectation from some, and I think many of them are in the establishment media, doesn't it smack at self-serving when they say it's un-American or it's below the president to use social media? Instead, they should be relying on that special relationship or the traditional relationship that they've had for many years with the popular media to use it as a conduit for your message?
I would stand on the side of Donald Trump in this topic. The United States has never been normal. The United States has voted for an actor before. So you're always the one who's breaking the rules. You're always the one who's leading the world. And it's fine. There's no problem for the president to use Twitter, to use social media. He even goes live. That's not a problem. The more forward-thinking, the better it is.